Welcome to the show! We're going to be talking about video game movies, and Army of Darkness is celebrating an anniversary, and I have a very important question for these gentlemen here. But also, we have some questions from the audience over on patreon.com/compop. So if you want to hear your question answered here on this show, submit your questions there. I create like a thread every week.
Or there or somewhere. I don't know where the Patreon is in the thing.
Everything's
it's
there.
always down.
Submit it here.
Bingo. No, it's not here. Go there. Like, go to the website, subscribe, and then type your question. But anyway, we'll get into it. But before we do, here's our question. Do you gentlemen, this is a question from Gabriel Shoot, who says, do you have any comfort films? And if so, has your comfort film changed over the years?
Yes. So, a long time ago, my comfort film was An American Tail.
Right on. Nice.
My comfort film is still a childhood movie, but it has now switched over to The Secret of NIMH.
Oh, different animated mouse-based films.
Yep.
Yeah, but also Don Bluth. So that's interesting.
That's very telling.
Very different in story structure.
Yeah.
Oh, big time. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, one's based off something, and I don't think The American Tail is from anything.
No, probably not.
No, it's telling its own. It's its own new
an original
thing.
IP.
It's an American Tale. I'm telling a new fable for a new generation.
Yes, which I kind of appreciate because An American Tale is like deep roots in Jewish culture, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And so as a result, it's like this is an American myth starring Jewish characters, though no one specifically says what they are.
Yeah, but they're being like persecuted by like the cats and they have to flee their home country.
Right, but also the Christian Irish are also being persecuted by the cats, like because we see crosses in those flashbacks.
Yes.
But yeah,
well, they're all in the same boat to come to America.
Exactly. Yeah, the boat doesn't care.
Yeah.
So Ben,
it's like it's an immigrant story. It's a very American story.
Absolutely.
That story doesn't happen in any other country, right? Like that's a very specific American phenomenon where people are flocking from all over the world to come here.
100%. Yeah, I loved An American Tail. I've never seen The Secret of NIMH.
What?
That surprises me because you're friends with Ben. So, like,
I know.
Did you escape that?
Right? Well, he made us all see Dracula 2000 once, and I stopped listening to his recommendations after.
Right, like, well, that's the last time I listened to a Ben recommendation.
I also made you all watch Lady Hawk sometime.
I did like Lady Hawk. That was fun.
Great story, terrible soundtrack. So stuck in the 80s.
It's insane. I think there's an original soundtrack for Lady Hawk. Like, I think there actually is an instrumental soundtrack that is not whatever the hell that was.
I mean, there's parts of it that are instrumental, and then there's parts of it that are all synthesizer.
Oh, yeah, no. I want to say they threw out the actually original soundtrack. They're like, no, make it more modern. It's like, yo, Lady Hawk is not War Games. But yeah. So what do you think facilitated the switch from Fievel to whatever the hell those mice are called?
The Secret of NIMH.
Well, the character.
Well, the main character.
Oh, the Rats of NIMH.
Yeah.
Mrs. Brisby and
Brisby. That's the name I'm looking for. Mrs. Brisby. Yeah.
It's probably due to the fact that the story still has a deep-rooted structure around family and the care of one's own. But also, you know, bravery is a big part of it. A little belief in the fantastical.
Sure, a little more magic. American Tail is very literal. So you're going to be more. That's interesting that you swung more fantasy as you got older.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think The Secret of NIMH is a more complex, like grown-up story, I think. I would say.
Well, there's definitely aspects to it about like, what does it mean to be conscious? Like, you know, once you realize you are who you are, do you then have a soul? What is right and wrong when you can realize the difference between the two?
Yeah, I'd say it tackles more adult themes or themes that would be less appealing to a child.
That's fair.
Plus, there's a great owl.
Oh, and there's a great owl. That might explain why that movie almost bankrupted Disney. And it's
yeah. I try to imagine like a 5-year-old watching it. And like,
that being said, I definitely saw An American Tail as like a 5-year-old, and I was gripped.
Yeah. Well, that one, yeah, that appeals that because it's about children,
That's true.
So children love that. Secret of NIMH is about, I don't know how old I'm supposed to be, but it's more like a teenager, right?
No, she's a mother. I would say she's
a mother.
We had to relate to her. She's probably in her mid to late 20s or early 30s.
Yeah, right. She's
or
like
whatever the mouse equivalent
is.
She's
not a child.
Yeah.
So, So like
she still has agency and a life ahead of her. Don't worry.
Yeah, so it's just like the age of the protagonist has a big impact, I think, on like whether children are going to be into it.
That makes sense.
I think that American Tail was always going to appeal to, and if it doesn't appeal to children as a cartoon as much, that's going to hurt it.
Yeah,
right out of the gate.
Yeah, well, it's like any adult being like, oh, as a child, one of my favorite animated movies, Watership Down. Like
there are rabbits in it. I love rabbits.
Yeah. And it's like
cartoon.
Yes, it is technically a cartoon. It's like, yeah, I love Last Unicorn and I love Watership Down. Those are my two favorite animated movies.
Yeah, and heavy metal.
Right? Yeah, and I'm a serial killer now. But Ethan, what about you? You have do you have a childhood movie or a comfort movie, I should say?
I don't really have a comfort movie. If you're talking about like a movie that like I keep going back to when I'm just like, I want to just chill, kill an afternoon, snowed
get the world out of my head.
Yeah. When I was a kid, it would probably have to be Star Wars. Because I watched those movies literally dozens of times. I would watch them multiple times a week. Like, it was ridiculous for probably like a 3-year span. I knew every line in all 3 of the movies for a good part of my childhood. So I would have to say that. But as an adult, I don't know. I don't have one that I go back to. It's like whatever I'm in the mood for. So I can think of a few movies that like that would appeal to me when I'm looking for like comfort food type movie. Toy Story 3, probably like a big one. Yeah. I've only seen it maybe like 5 or 6 times. But that alone, that for me is a lot, right? As an adult, a lot of times to watch a movie. I don't rewatch movies, usually more than once.
Yeah.
These days. And Castaway is another one.
Okay.
Which is like a dark movie, but ultimately
it's a hopeful ending. Yeah.
Same thing with Toy Story, right? Toy Story 3 gets very dark, but also like ultimately uplifting. So yeah. Those are 2 that like immediately come to mind. We talked about Groundhog Day. That's another one I'll watch, anytime. And just have a lot of positive memories associated with it. And Office Space is another one.
Oh, sure. Yeah. As a kid, I think I have to go with The Great Muppet Caper was my childhood comfort movie. I would throw it on a lot as a kid. And I had one of those like taped from HBO versions. Like it wasn't even an official sanctioned copy.
Yeah.
It was like taped from a friend's copy because they had but yeah, I knew all the songs, and actually I hadn't revisited it for a long time, and I just recently caught the song that Kermit sings with Fozzie while getting ready for his date with what he thinks is Lady Holiday, aka Miss Piggy. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't like set this to a thing in my wedding. That's how excited I was about that song. And it was just completely, it didn't exist in my brain. And then I knew all the lyrics when I saw it again. In college, when I was a freshman, I sank almost immediately into a deep well of depression. And I, every weekend, would put Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade on and eat a pizza. And I did that every weekend for about 6 months, which I think is like the literal definition of depression.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if that's like called a comfort movie so much as that is like enabling. Like
It's
I think that was
trauma
like
response, I think.
Yeah. And so, yeah, that was something where I was like, yeah, just I love to kick back and watch the same movie every single weekend. And yeah, but I do love that movie still, but I don't rely on it for comfort like I did. And now it's like kind of a toss-up. Like it could be anything. Like it could be Jaws, it could be The Fugitive. But these are movies that just come on and I'm like, well, I guess I'm settled in for this.
Well, that's if it comes on. What's something that you will actually seek out and be like,
go get?
I want to get this out of my collection, or I want to find the streaming service that has this movie.
Yeah, it's usually either The Thing or Alien.
Okay.
Or
Alien
Terminator.
or Aliens?
Terminator 2.
Alien nowadays. As a kid,
wow.
loved Aliens. I love Aliens. There's nothing wrong with Aliens. It's almost perfection. But Alien, I have come to respect and admire over the last decade or so. I just love Alien, and more the better.
It's a scarier movie.
It's a scarier movie. It's more technical. I love every element of it. You get so much more out of it. It's so fun to look at it as a microcosm or as an island, like not as a franchise, because like the whole like why is the xenomorph all sleepy in Ripley's capsule? And it's like because, and it's like if you connect it to the rest of the franchise, doesn't work. I mean, it's perfect and it works fine as a good launching pad for more, but the reason and rationale, like Picket Fences, the captain, I always call him Picket Fences because I don't know the actor's name, but the guy who was also the dad in Picket Fences, he's the captain, he's taken, and that's when like the movie goes to switcheroo where you're like, oh, he's not the lead? Oh, okay, bye. We see what happens to him, and we see that like he's being transformed into like an egg. That like the alien life cycle is that the face hugger, or no, that the xenomorph takes you and turns you into its proto life phase, so you can start the whole thing over again. And that the xenomorph's lifespan is only a couple of days. So by the time it gets to the capsule, like it's dying.
Right.
And I was like, what? Like every time I get new information about Alien, I'm like, oh my God, yeah, this is so great. Even if it like kind of hurts or ruins any future iterations of Alien. But thankfully, Ridley Scott did that with his sequel, so it's okay.
Right. It's already ruined.
It's already ruined, so might as well just enjoy it as a beautiful technical piece of cinematic history.
Yeah.
But yeah. The other question I have for you, gentlemen, that is my question, is if you could enhance yourself with any bionics, what would it be?
Any bionics like from fiction, or
yes, like from a cyberpunky and futuristic fictitious reality. Like if you could go, yeah, I could go with like new robot legs or robot eyes or
I don't. Okay,
robot
so
wings?
immediately I don't want to replace any of my body parts.
You don't want to replace
with
anything.
robot
There's
parts.
nothing on your body where you'd like, I'd swap it out.
I would not swap a single thing. I might wear like a thing, like on my arm, you know, like a gauntlet or something.
An augmentation.
An augmentation, perhaps something I could remove and take off, and I'm back to being whole me.
Yeah.
It's not the question.
I know.
No,
well, then
that's
none.
fair, but nothing. You wouldn't replace a thing.
Yes.
Interesting.
I guess if you reframe the question as like, which body part, if I had to lose one and have it replaced with a bionic part, would I prefer it to coincidentally be, since I would never bring it about?
Would you pick your ears? Would you listen to techno? Because if you had robot ears, you would appreciate it.
This sounds like a former roommate problem.
No, that's from Grandma's Boy.
Oh, okay.
I guess I don't know. I guess arms.
Perfect vision.
No, then I have to lose my eyeballs. I'm not doing that. That's not happening.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'd rather lose my arms. I could carry heavy stuff, I guess.
Okay,
yeah, there we go.
What if you could add 2 more arms onto your torso like Goro?
Can I take them off?
Well, they could retract.
Yeah, they're going to be part of you.
Where?
Okay, you know how
is it possible to look at me and not see those arms?
Yes, but only in as much as you could be Angel from X-Men, where you have to wear something
to cover them up. Yeah, I don't want them.
Like your arms telescope the way that like a knockoff lightsaber does, where it's like into
right.
Itself.
They get smaller, but they're still vestigial arms like attached somehow.
Yeah, you don't see the arms. Yeah, you have nubs. On your back.
No, hard pass on that.
Okay.
Ever.
Okay. Ben, what about you? What are you swapping out? Come on, there's got to be something.
Again, I'm kind of just want robot wings if that'll allow me to fly.
That's fair. I mean, I'll take that. Adding something is also fair game.
There we go.
Because you got to be a freak. We got to change you in some way.
Yeah. Being a freak is required.
You must be a freak. But no, I mean, like, listen.
What about you?
If I could do anything else, if it had to be like replacing something, I would probably replace a section of my brain so I could have expandable storage.
I mean, your brain already has expandable storage. It's just that you have to rely on it in order to remember stuff.
Yeah, if I could just pop in a disc and know stuff, perfect. Little SD card.
Right. Okay.
Interesting. I might go with that too, like a jack. I did think about like, can I jack myself into something?
Well, you can jack yourself as much as you want.
Especially with those robot arms. But yes, I mean, a Matrix port is something that I immediately dismissed out of hand when I first saw The Matrix, but upon further examination is dope. Like, if I were a pure child of Zion, I would feel like I missed
left out.
I feel like, man. So there's the majority of the population can be Superman.
Yeah, you can learn a skill instantly. What
Are
the
you
crap?
kidding me? Yeah.
Why am I going to school? Like, geez.
Yeah, what the hell? I gotta learn this thing secondhand? Forget that.
You know it in the Matrix. Does that mean you also know it outside of the Matrix?
No, I think you download it. I think you get it. It's in your brain now.
In your brain.
It's just that it has it's
just like your memories from being in the Matrix. You don't lose your memory of what you did in the Matrix when you leave the Matrix. It's part of you. So when you download a skill, that's the same thing. It's part of you.
Like, in the real world, were there helicopters? Neo could fly one.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it's Trinity learns how to fly. But anyway, Neo knows Kung Fu in both the fictitious world and the real world.
Yeah, but he's much better in the fictitious world than the real world.
Because he can go
superpowers. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, that's a good point. Maybe the Kung Fu he learns, he wouldn't really be applicable because he'd be like, oh, I'm so like slow and crap. Like
he'd have to relearn it because he's used to hacking his own physiology more.
We'd have to train his body. He'd have to be strong and fast.
Yes, but he would never be as fast as he's capable of being in the Matrix. But he would still know Kung Fu, but it would trip him up. Like, if you were used, it's just like wearing weights on your body when you're doing normal things. Like, yeah.
All right, Sal, what's yours?
Organs.
What do you mean?
I'm changing up my organs. That's the
which
thing
one?
That ails
All
most.
of them? You only get one.
Oh, okay.
Which organ would you change up and why?
Probably have to be the heart. But I don't know. The heart is such a fantastic organ. It's a miracle of bioengineering. I wonder. But I feel like something that fails.
To what end?
Well, it's just to keep it going, keep me moving a little bit more. But
I don't know what that means. I don't know. You mean, are you afraid of like heart disease? So you're like, let me just go ahead and preemptively swap that baby out.
Well, whatever, it's like preemptively replacing a crucial component on your car because of wear and tear and obviously.
So you think your heart would be the first to go?
I don't know.
Because if any of your major organs fail, that would be the one that you'd want to be bionic.
Well, probably, but my initial thought was just replace the whole damn undercarriage, like swap them all, take them all out.
You want to consider internal organs,
intestine, stomach, kidneys, spleen, all of it,
right? Except for the fact that, like, I mean, because then I wouldn't have to eat anymore.
What?
No, you still have to eat.
Why would you not have to eat?
Well, I don't have.
Where's your energy going to come from?
No, that's true. Well, it would be more like a paste because I don't have to like process food anymore because I don't have like a stomach anymore.
You need to process food. Your cells that are biological still need the same energy.
I guess you can't really swap out your organs.
But think about this.
They'd have to replicate the functions.
And you could like dial in how much you want to actually eat. What is it? Not appetite, not stamina, metabolism. You could change your metabolism to be like, all right, well, I know I just ate 3 cakes over there, but I'm going to ramp up my metabolism. So it's like I had
a bionic metabolism.
There we go. Now you're talking. Yeah. I mean, this is the dream of any fat guy, but like, it's still.
That's extraordinarily complicated.
Turn it way down. You're going to go through like a winter period and just be like, oh, I had a little thing, but that's all my body needs for right now.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. See, now your metabolism is a byproduct of like multiple organ systems working together. That would be very hard.
Well, I mean,
you can't just replace a thing.
He replaced all of his organs. This kind of works.
Yeah.
You'd have to replace all your organs.
All the organs have to go. Yeah. I mean, all right, then I guess I'll go with Matrix port. But like, still, I do have a fractured ankle that I like. It doesn't bother me, but maybe it will one day. I remember when I fractured my ankle, like the day after I fractured my ankle, a friend of ours' mother, who was a pediatrician, was like, "Oh, that will have arthritis," and then that was the whole conversation we had. And I was like, "Oh, cool! I can look forward to that one day." So maybe my ankle / foot.
Okay. Yeah, just to not have arthritis.
Just to knock out that problem right off the bat. I mean,
Wait, you could already do that. You could just get a replacement joint.
Yeah, but that's not a cool bionic foot. That's
okay.
that's
what is
what
your
we have
bionic
normally.
foot gonna do?
Whatever I want. Maybe there's a gun in there. Maybe it has a storage.
Well, you got to pick something. You got to tell us.
I don't know. Let's go with like a kind of Inspector Gadgetoian spring system that allows me to like jump a little farther.
Cool.
Okay.
All right. So you're kind of like that guy in the Black Mirror Batman book.
Oh yes, that guy. I know exactly
Bronze
who you're talking
Tiger?
about. I think it is Bronze Tiger. Bronze Tiger is just a guy, though. He doesn't have like.
So not Bronze Tiger.
I can't remember.
no.
Some guy has bionic legs.
Yeah.
Does he have
that's another
bionic legs,
guy.
or does he wear things that attach to his legs?
No, he's got like bionic legs.
Yeah.
It makes it look like he's got Chell's legs from. Is it Chell from Portal?
Yeah, he has those legs that like you see marathon runners with no legs.
Oh yeah. Okay.
The
Like blade legs.
The blade legs. Yeah, he has blade legs. Mm-hmm. That's not Bronze Tiger. All right, so there we go. I was just curious about.
I was thinking of Tiger Shark.
Tiger Shark. I think that's right because I remember there was being a shark in there.
Yeah.
All right, just curious. I like to throw out these Family Guy-esque would you rather's kind of once in a while. I think it's important to get those into the show. It's a fun little test.
I'm down.
So anyway,
I would enjoy a full on. See, that was not really a would you rather. Because,
no, it's not.
I would definitely dig you coming up with some like real tough dilemma
type choices.
Type questions. It's Saw, but it sells.
I love those.
I know.
So,
I hate them. So that's why I don't normally do it, because Ethan's the one who normally poses them.
Okay. So next episode, the audience has to give us like 3 would you rather questions, A or B.
Right.
Hard dilemma choices. And we're gonna see where we all fall.
That's fair. I like that. I like that a lot. So happy 32 years to the movie Army of Darkness from Sam Raimi. And you know what? I'm just going to say it. Also Bruce Campbell, because without him, the movie doesn't exist. But I think that it's fair to say for so many people, Army of Darkness was the first entry to the Evil Dead franchise for most people.
Yes.
Or would you not agree?
Most people like our age, definitely.
Certainly our age, yeah.
Like older people might have seen,
Evil Dead,
more likely to see Evil Dead or Evil Dead 2
2
first. But yeah, by after the fact, absolutely. That's like the one that like everyone's going to see first, I think.
Yeah. It's the most commercial. It's the most available universally. Evil Dead was
on Sci-Fi Channel all the time.
Yeah, they could put it on TV and not cause a stir.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it dropped on February 19th, 1993. And I was like, man, Army of Darkness. That was a movie. I remember seeing it for the first time. Our mutual friend's older brother was like, dude, have you ever seen Army of Darkness? It's like the video game Doom, but real life. And it was like a cloud of me was left in my wake. And I was transported to the video store. Now, I was a little disappointed because it was not Doom.
At all.
At all.
At all.
In any way. You don't even fight skeleton warriors.
There is a chainsaw.
Doom. There is a chainsaw. So it is a little like Doom in that
and there's
one
a boomstick.
uses boomstick too. Yes, there's a boomstick and there is a chainsaw. You can wield those in the game. And Ash has those.
And you're fighting demons.
Yep. They're skeletons or an evil version of Ash. I mean, like that's it. Occasionally there's like there's Deadites too, but they're not the same thing as like a Pinky or an Imp or a Lost Soul or a Revenant or any of those things. Man, I don't want to get off on a tear here. Maybe I'll save it for the next topic, because there's another topic I have that's tangential.
I'm pissed off at that guy now.
I'm disappointed. No, I'm disappointed that we never got, because Doom was such a phenomenon. We never got a live action claymation / puppet / early CG Doom movie.
And now we never will.
Oh, we've had 2 Doom movies that are hot, wet ass.
Yeah.
We'll never get another one. And I'll take like, I can't believe that there aren't more fan films in that world, but I digress. I'm going to put a pin in that for now.
Mm-hmm.
Army of Darkness. What I got instead of a Doom movie was still effing dope. Okay, you had an unlikable, unlikely protagonist in Ash Williams, Bruce Campbell. If you're watching that movie at the time we are, you're also like, who is that? Is he in Xena? Yes, he is in Xena.
Yep.
But also, he's the star of Briscoe County Jr. And if you haven't seen The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr.,
I have
imagine, oh my God, then you are going to give yourself a treat. As Dale Cooper would say, every day give yourself a present. And this present is watch the complete series of The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr., a show that is in the style of Xena, but it's about a cowboy starring Bruce Campbell.
About a cowboy. Oh, okay. I was trying to figure out what genre is this?
Yeah, it is a
show in
straight
based on
up,
the title.
It is a cowboy western adventure show.
Mm-hmm. All right, let me look this up.
Checking this
You can
out.
keep
I'm doing it
you
right
go
now.
on
I'm
the
just
show,
gonna
I'm
stream
gonna
it
look
while we record.
Yeah.
I'm just going to watch it now. Here we go. But yeah, but Bruce Campbell, instantly recognizable. Oh, was that the guy from the last shot of Darkman?
Yeah, because I was looking up stuff yesterday about this because I knew this was going to be a topic, and I didn't realize Darkman was like the immediate thing, like right before Army of Darkness.
Interesting. So Sam and Bruce had worked together on Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2. Then they made Darkman. And then they made Army of Darkness.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, from the director of Darkman, because that was like a big hit.
Starring
guess.
Liam Neeson.
Yes, which it took me way too long to see Darkman, but that's a present for me because I'd never seen anything like that before in my life. Like, you think you know what you're in for when you see a movie that looks like a ripoff of The Shadow, because it straight up is. Because Sam Raimi wanted to make a movie about The Shadow, and then they couldn't get the license, so he created his own Shadow called Darkman.
Oh, is that how that came about?
It is insane.
Yeah, and there's a sequence with over an elephant that I'll never forget, and I think of every time I'm at the boardwalk. But anyway, yeah, man, from the director of Darkman. Do you have a favorite moment from Army? I mean, what is your favorite moment from Army of Darkness? Endlessly quotable, expertly directed, cheap, easy, awesome.
The quest to go get the Necronomicon out of the cemetery, from the moment he leaves and encounters the windmill and the thing in the woods chasing him, up to the graveyard scene and everything that happens in the graveyard, that's it for me. I love that.
Cinema. Yeah. Ash stepping on the nail.
Yep.
So great. Also, I remember being baffled. Like, if you were showing that movie in a vacuum with no context or explanation,
you are like, so lost.
Like, what why is he acting like this?
Yeah, that was me when I saw it.
And then they're making Three Stooges references, like that scene where Ash is in the graveyard and the skeleton hands are trying to get at him, and then he gets punched from every direction imaginable. I'm like, oh, so this movie is a stupid joke. Like, I was so mad. I was like, this is a dumb joke. Yeah. But also, it's taking itself seriously, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, totally. It's bizarre.
Completely.
It's a bizarre movie. And the multiple Ashes, that's the thing I remember the most, probably, because that was where I was like most like, what?
Yes.
What is even happening?
Yeah,
like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
I don't hate it, but it was like very. That's
jarring.
where like I feel like I'm losing the thread. Like, I thought I understood this movie, and now I'm just like, wait, what?
Yes.
So yeah,
I think that is probably the biggest leap back to the Evil Dead movies, or I should at least say Evil Dead 2.
Because
most of the movie was kind of serious, and then it gets insane. And the point where he's in the windmill and in the graveyard are insane, and that's very much Evil Dead.
Yes. Although I think Evil Dead, because Evil Dead 1 is trying to be a horror movie.
Oh, yeah.
And Evil Dead 2 is understanding your strengths and trying again. And
To be fair,
that works. Yeah,
we all saw Army of Darkness first, right?
exactly.
I never even saw the Evil Dead movies. I only saw Army of Darkness.
Oh, really? Well,
Okay.
you would know what to expect.
Don't see one.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're a film student or a Raimi fanatic, which you aren't because you haven't seen Evil Dead 1 or 2.
Right.
But Evil Dead 2 is very much like, yeah, okay. Like, I'm informed by what this is. It is much more literal. It's a little more like, oh, okay, like
a
Army of
straightforward-
Darkness, time travel, the kind of insane fish out of water fun of it. A lot more jokes and goofy crap. One of Elaine's old bosses plays the wizard or wise man in that movie. A couple of fun cameo characters in there. I'm like, oh, I remember you. You're in something. But yeah, Army of Darkness is more fun, like deliberately more fun. Evil Dead 2 is trying to give you a horror comedy.
Yeah, they understood what they did wrong in the first movie, and they're like, it's just not serious. We're not that scary. We'll still do all the horror stuff, but we're doing it tongue in cheek.
Exactly. Although
like
I find that
for
the
like
heart...
over the top kind of.
Oh my God, yes. The amount of blood in that movie.
Yes, but it's not played for laughs. Like, it's funny, but they're taking it seriously. Like, it's serious within the world itself. They're in on the joke, and you're along for the ride.
Would you say it's kind of like Cabin in the Woods in that respect?
Yes, but less subversive. Like Cabin in the Woods. I mean, just the fact that it's a cabin in the woods. People talk about how like, oh, there's cabin in the woods in every horror movie. No, Evil Dead set up the cabin in the woods being an iconic location. You can't think of Cabin in the Woods without thinking of Evil Dead. And in fact, there's all kinds of homages and references to Evil Dead throughout Cabin in the Woods. The Cabin in the Woods is trying to be like Scream, where Scream is not supposed to be a horror franchise. It's one really subversive and interesting like commentary on the slasher genre.
Right.
Yeah, Evil Dead 2 is contributing to it with a new thing. Cabin in the Woods is like, and that's all I have to say about that. Like, I wanted to share a couple of negative reviews about Army of Darkness because I love this movie so much. Just to give you some perspective about like how
from
people
the time
feel. Yeah,
like from.
I assume they are from the time, although I find some of these are actually from like, or at least they're written in like recent times. Like Patricia Bibby from the Associated Press says, a tacit rule in reviewing movies is that not only the best films get long and loving reviews. So when it comes to Army of Darkness, brevity is called for. Stunningly stupid, amazingly bad, incredibly awful, downright terrible. Which I was like,
wow.
Damn.
Sounds like she didn't get it.
Right. Also, I would put that shit on the poster. Stunningly bad. Stunningly stupid.
Stunningly stupid.
Like
that's pretty good. I like that one.
Yeah.
Next one off moviepoopshoot.com.
Sal the Terminator writes. Steve Murray from the Atlanta Journal Constitution says, has success spoiled Mr. Raimi's sicko genius? Maybe not, but it certainly seems tamed. This dance of death turns out to be a ho-hum hokey pokey. These are people who are like disappointed that Army of Darkness doesn't go as far as Evil Dead does.
Yeah, they're like, I don't like the direction. Like, I loved Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2. I don't like where he's going.
Yes.
Derek Malcolm, this to my kids. They'd be scared, but they'd be okay afterwards.
Which actually I think is a fantastic gateway movie into the like horror gore genre, because you're a little safe because your protagonist is such a goofball that you're never really afraid for his life. You know?
Yeah.
And then I'm going to share this final one. It's from Derek Malcolm from The Guardian. Army of Darkness is more of an ironic fantasy than a horror story, but neither fantastic nor funny enough, despite its plethora of special effects and artful jokiness, to pass muster as anything much. I mean, again, it's like there's a compliment in there somewhere about how like there's a plethora of special effects and artful jokiness. It's true, yeah. Like there's some rage there, and I guess it's just a disappointment. It's this thing where it's like, I guess if you are coming up, like if you're Quentin Tarantino, because famously Quentin Tarantino like saw Evil Dead 2 like in a theater,
Mhm.
Like he read like an open page.
That's how old he is.
That's how old and out of touch Quentin Tarantino. No, as I recall, Tarantino read like an ad in like Fangoria magazine. Maybe there was like an interview with Raimi about it. And they were just like, you will not effing believe this. And I mean, like, if you are reading Fangoria magazine and looking for movies like Evil Dead or looking for directors like Sam Raimi, Evil Dead's going to blow your effing mind. So I can imagine being Quentin Tarantino, seeing Evil Dead in the theater, seeing the reaction of like normies watching this movie for the first time, and then like checking out Army of Darkness, just from the poster alone. You're like, oh, it's invoking like pulp novel, fantasy, action adventure hero characters. Like the joke is that Ash is so anything but the hero of the poster, but also wants to be, but also there's no real character within him that seems to explain why he wants to be a hero despite his cowardice. It's just weird. It's a weird kind of like butting heads of itself movie.
Did he like it or no?
I don't know if Tarantino liked Army of Darkness, but I can only speculate that he hates it.
Yeah, I could see that. What do you think of? Do you know what Jay from Regular Media thinks of Army of Darkness?
I assume he also is a little disappointed, like mildly disappointed, as it compares to Evil Dead 2,
because it goes more away from the horror, you know.
Oh, it's too mainstream.
Yeah,
I can absolutely see Jay finding it a little more mainstream. I mean, and it is like from the jump. Like the movie has like a theatrical release. It has a movie poster. It has like backers. Dino De Laurentiis is involved. Like it's
much more expensive.
More expensive, absolutely. Yeah. So it's it ain't what it was, but also I wouldn't change anything about it. Like it's still joyful and fun. In fact, they did change quite a few things about it. From random deleted scenes that kind of like give Ash more of an unlikable edge to the alternate ending entirely. And I truly believe that if the director's cut ending had played on the tape that I rented as a kid, I would have been like really mad.
Oh, wow. What happens?
Ash wins the day. He has to say the special words. In the alternate ending, he has to drink a special vial, and he has to drink 3 or 4 drops of the vial to sleep for as long as he needs to until he arrives back in his home time. They can't like send back to the future, but he can sleep in like a state of suspended animation for that long.
Okay.
So they give him this juice. They put him in his car. They wall the car off in a cave.
Okay.
He drinks the juice, gets distracted, drinks 1 more drop than he should have, and wakes up in a post-apocalypse version of his time.
Oh my God!
Slept too long. He missed his future. He missed his timeline by like
right. Yeah.
So he wakes up and he's in the middle of a war-torn, destroyed, devastated London. And he goes, I slept too long, and then laughs as the credits go dark. And it's like, okay. And they believe, that is to say Raimi and company, that like that's the true ending of Army of Darkness. Meanwhile, the other one is he's supposed to say the special magic words. He says them wrong because he never knew them in the first place. And so as a result, Deadites still persist, and he still has to be Ash. And he gets a spectacular action sequence that I unabashedly love. From him having a shotgun that can only shoot 2 shells that shoots at least 15 in one
It's
go.
not a shotgun. It's a rifle.
No, you're right. It's a rifle. That's true. That's true. There's no way. He's like, I'm like, you know, there's, but yeah, delightful.
He still has the gauntlet on hand.
Yeah.
Love it.
Of course. Gets the girl at the end. Also, shameless cameo by Ted Raimi, Sam Raimi's brother. Because if you are a Sam Raimi fan, especially back then, every time you see a Sam Raimi joint, you're going to look for a few hallmarks. 1, the classic. The classic being the car that Ash drove in the original Evil Dead that is in every single Sam Raimi movie, including all the Spider-Man movies.
Really?
Yeah, Uncle Ben's car is Ash's car.
Oh, that's cool.
So
right.
it makes it into all of them. Also, Ted Raimi, who of course is also in every Spider-Man movie.
Yep.
Interesting. Who is he?
He is Hoffman, the assistant to J. Jonah Jameson, the one who has way too much screen time. And you go, why does this random guy have so much screen time? He's also Joxer the Mighty in Xena the Warrior Princess.
Is he one of the doctors or assistants in the second one with when they're trying to carve off Doc Ock's arms?
He is he's only Hoffman. He's only
Hoffman?
J.
Okay.
Jonah Jameson's assistant. The assistants that are cutting off Doc Ock's arms are just like really distinctive extras, as is every extra in every Sam Raimi movie I've ever seen, where I'm like, whoa, that extra is really going for it. Feels like Sam asked for extra juice on this really, really mundane character.
Now, they're doing the thing that extras are not supposed to do.
That's right.
Like they're not the one rule of being an extra.
Yeah, is don't overstep. Don't overshadow the main character.
In that scene where they're trying to take off the arms and save him,
yes,
that is very much a Sam Raimi Evil Dead 2
yeah.
scene.
Oh my God. No, that is for many people, that was like the thing that made them realize that it was like a real movie. They were like, I remember people complaining about Spider-Man 2 and in fact all superhero movies at every turn, but them going, the one shining light in Spider-Man 2 is that arms sequence. Where
you mean like critics
especially, yeah.
Yeah,
it's just like
critics really like that scene.
Yeah, because it's just and what's funny is they probably are they're the same people who probably said that Evil Dead sucks.
Probably, yeah.
The arm sequence is just Evil Dead.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, it's something like the director had like a vision, like an artistic vision, and executed it to perfection, and it's something like totally interesting within this otherwise like bland and boring, like lame superhero concept. But that was a moment of brilliance.
Yes, that's true. That's exactly what people said about it when it first came out.
And I remember thinking, this is weird. When I saw it, I'm like, that was well done, but like, what?
What? Yeah, no. Well, because I was also already a fan, or at least was aware of Army of Darkness, Evil Dead. Like, I'd seen all those movies. I was already hook, line, and sinker ready for a Sam Raimi movie. I was like, whole time. I'm looking at regular people going like, what the fuck? Like, why did this movie turn into a horror movie for a second? There's also snap zooms that he uses that are straight up out of Evil Dead 2, including a completely out of place chainsaw that the doctor wields to try and remove Doc Ock's arms, where he's like, he pulls out the chainsaw and it's just like snap zoom to the chainsaw. Like, yeah, you know who's making this movie. It's the guy who makes the movies about the guy with the chainsaw hand.
Is it a chainsaw? I assume it's a bone saw. You think it's a chainsaw?
It is a silver chainsaw. I mean, like it's supposed to, it's all pristine and clean looking. It doesn't look like any chainsaw you've ever seen, but it is also unabashedly a chainsaw. It also makes a ridiculous chainsaw sound effect.
And they do the same effect where, like, when Ash in the windmill grabs the spatula to get his face off of the grill, holds it up and then turns it to the camera and goes, "This is what I have to do." Essentially, he doesn't say it, but that's the motion, and it's the exact same thing that the doctor does. He goes, "This is what I have to use."
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's obscene, egregious, self-indulgent, you might say, but also perfection.
Definitely. Yeah.
No, Sam Raimi is nothing if not self-indulgent. The most reserved movie I've ever seen him make is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Like, it is the most normal movie he's ever made. That said, I mean, when Wanda has to like crush herself and then backwards crawl deadite herself through a port, I'm like, nah. Here we go. This is not earned, but sure. But yeah, ridiculous. So yeah, big thanks to Army of Darkness. I think it informed my sensibilities. Certainly, I wanted to get like peers and elders respect, and I found that Army of Darkness was also a good way for like a gateway for me. Where I was like, oh, well, I've seen Army of Dark. Like, you've never seen Evil Dead 2? What are you, 12? Yeah. Well, I have seen Army of Darkness. Okay. Well, I mean.
All right.
That's Evil Dead Jr., so
yeah,
sure.
You're kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little different.
It's a little different, but still. From the audience, this is from Ant Testing Ground. He says, so I know Sal mentioned in his past episodes that his favorite characters or books are covered on back issues. Do Ethan or Ben have any characters or series that they get excited when we cover on back issues? Are there any characters you're like, oh my God, we're talking about Sleepwalker? Sweet.
It's hard to say because there have been so many runs where, regardless of what character it is, it could go both ways.
Yes.
I think there's definitely been episodes where I've been like, oh crap, we're doing that, but it's not because I like love the character. It's because it's like rare that will.
No, but are there characters that make you feel that way where you're like, oh,
No.
it's so and so?
No, there's no characters. There's characters where I'm like excited because of the novelty. That's it, right? Like because like we've done Superman, we've done Batman, we've done
Spider-Man,
tons of Spider-Man, right? Yeah. But if we were to do a character that we'd never done before, like I don't know, like a John Stewart Green Lantern book, I'd be like, oh shit, we're doing that. I don't know anything about it. That I would have that excited reaction, but it wouldn't be because I love the character, it'd just be because it's new. I don't think there's any character that I like love so much that I would like just be excited to see a book from them.
Or it's like every time we talk about this guy, it's an adventure. Like it's another zany episode.
Yeah.
Like,
so there's a couple of characters that definitely I'll go down a rabbit hole with. I love Thor. And I love like that whole Asgardian background because that's just a different mythology and land and realm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and if we ever deign to do a Thor episode, it's gonna be weird.
Exactly.
Like it's never just like, oh, well, this will be odd, but probably choked with supporting cast members who are normal. No, it's always going to be completely off the wall. Yeah. And there's always the add bonus of maybe Beta Ray Bill will show up.
I was just going to say, that did make me think like Beta Ray Bill would be like the one character would be like, oh yes, Beta Ray Bill. All right.
That's true.
I think he's probably the only one. And it's mostly because of the way he looks. I just love that idea.
Well, he's a beautiful creature and he's so noble.
Yeah. He's the most noble species ever.
That's right.
I'd also say Dr. Doom books because they're usually well written, and he's such a good villain.
Yeah,
he's a fun character. Yeah,
that's true. That's true. If they think about like focusing on him, it's going to be like, oh Jesus, here we go. This egomaniac is going to set shit on fire.
Yeah, it's going to be a crazy trip.
That's fair. That's fair.
Probably same with Darkseid or the Joker on the DC side of things.
That's funny. I would think that like if we were like, oh, we're doing a Joker episode, it would probably be like kind of overdone. But
yeah, I'm done with both those characters.
But there's so many good ones.
Yeah.
They have some really good stories. Some really good stories.
Yeah, and then sometimes they do them all over again, and it's like, oh, Joker took over Gotham again. Wow.
Yeah. Maybe I'm a glass half empty kind of guy where I'm just like, it's probably going to be derivative and stupid when I see, those characters come out. If I don't know anything about the book, I'm like, oh, well, it's probably going to be, lame.
Oh, great. We're doing this again. I've already read thousands.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That's true. All right. Well, then I'll pick one more topic just to keep things interesting. Here we go. Thank you, Ant Testing Ground, for your question.
Good name too.
I agree. So my final question topic of the evening or morning, if you're watching the show, whenever, is, are there any video game movies? Okay, I shouldn't even say that. What video game movie are you like, where the hell is this thing? Like, why has it taken this long for you to make this?
Yeah, they've done some of them, so it's hard. Like, it would have been Sonic the Hedgehog, or Mario, forgetting the original, a real Mario movie, but they did both of those. So.
They did both those. Yeah, no, it's like, it's true. And they made one perfect Mortal Kombat movie. And by perfect, I mean, it ain't great.
Right.
And they made a good Dungeons and Dragons movie.
They made a good Dungeons and Dragons
movie. Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
At first I was triggered because I was like, oh no, how dare you say that? Because I saw Dungeons and Dragons in the theater twice in London, England, because my friend and I were just so cultureless that we didn't know what to do with ourselves in that city. So we watched the Marlon Wayans Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Yeah, you watched a horrible movie that you could have watched anywhere.
Anywhere on tape at home, but we saw in England instead on the big screen. Ugh. But no, there's a better Dungeons and Dragons movie now, and it's way more fun, and it still made $1, but still.
Yeah,
So
it's too bad.
Obviously, I'm going to say 2, Legend of Zelda and Metroid.
Yeah.
Metroid, I was thinking of. Legend of Zelda, I didn't think of, but that's, yes, agree.
There was that fantastic fake trailer that came out, like, what, 2012, 2013?
Hero of Time.
Exactly. But it was like, so good at how it looked and what it represented. I was on board 100%.
Oh, yeah. No, that was the IGN parody trailer from 16 years ago.
There we go. Oh, 2009.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I'm going to be very basic and say Halo. They still haven't made a Halo movie. They made that show.
They made that show that sucks balls.
Nobody wants that show.
Nope.
But the movie, still haven't made a movie. There's still a chance to do it right.
Yes.
With a movie.
Yes.
It's better suited to a movie anyway. I don't know why.
Because streaming was ruined entertainment. So it's like, make it a movie. Make a 19-hour movie.
Well, they still haven't made a Doom movie.
Well, that's the thing.
They made 2 Doom movies.
They made 2 horrible movies. They never made my Doom movie.
One, not one that's like actually like based on the video game.
Yeah, those aren't Doom. Those are garbage.
Yeah.
Well, there's something else I thought of. Oh, this one's kind of unusual, but a King's Quest movie would be dope.
Do you want it to be animated?
Yeah.
Okay.
It could go either way. I could see a live action one working as well. Either one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think live action would work very well with that, actually.
It probably would. Yeah. And it would be like a novelty. Kind of. They did, they tried to do an animation style, especially towards the later ones, so it's like looking a little more realistic in King's Quest 6, and then they went like full cartoon in King's Quest 7. So yeah, it'd be interesting to go back to the more realistic style and just make it live action. Like, no, it's a fairy tale world, but it's the real world.
Yeah. Have you guys seen any of Secret Level?
No.
Yes.
Because that is like the closest thing you're ever going to get to the movies you want. Like,
interesting.
It's unbelievable how insane it is. They made a D&D segment. They made an Unreal Tournament segment. They made a Warhammer one, and a really off-the-wall Pac-Man one. Like, these are... And by the way, they didn't need to say, like, Porkman. They use the license. There's a Mega Man one. People are like, oh, my God, why isn't there a Mega Man movie like this?
That Mega Man was disappointing.
Was it? People loved that. Oh, it was disappointing because it was short. They're all short. They're segments. Like, they can't make a whole movie.
But that's...
It
should have been longer. It was the last one in the series, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And it was like 7 minutes long, and he barely gets to be Mega Man.
Yeah, well, I think they're teasing you.
Always leave him wanting more.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
But I'm not going to get that in the next season. You did it.
That's true. Well, they could always keep it going. They could do a sequel to it or something, or a continuation thereof.
That Warhammer short. Oh my God, that was good.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about Warhammer.
I don't want to.
I loved it.
For me, it was the Unreal Tournament. I was like, oh my God. They're doing things. They're like multi-kill. I'm like, yes. The way that the levels actually set up, and I'm like, it's faces.
That was cool.
It was so cool.
Last round.
Yeah.
That cross thing.
Yes. Oh,
I can't remember what it was called.
I don't know, but I do want like an early '90s Doom movie made by like a hungry Peter Jackson or something. I know that's never going to happen. So I mean, like when it comes to video game adaptations into movies, I feel like that Assassin's Creed movie they made was so horribly bad, and it's like Assassin's Creed. The premise is basically a movie premise.
Yeah.
The way that you screw that up with Michael Fassbender attached, I'm like, oh, you can't do it. Like, you don't know how to do that. So it's like, I remember hearing like Gore Verbinski, director of the original Pirates of the Caribbean trilogy, was going to make a BioShock movie. And it was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But like, they'd screw it up.
Yeah.
There's absolutely
It's
no way.
hard to do. I was also thinking of like it's not like I think they are making one, Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah,
you
that's
know.
the one where I'm like, I would love to see a
But
Horizon Zero Dawn.
the problem with that is it's kind of like BioShock, not as big of a problem as with BioShock, where it's all in the game.
Yeah,
It's all there. What are you gonna do?
right.
What's different?
What's
Why am I
different
going to
that
watch that instead of
justifies-
just play the game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now they did. You could probably say the same about The Last of Us, and they did make a fantastic show. So like
It was.
it,
And it was just the
can be
movie,
done.
or it was just
The
the
game.
game.
Yeah.
Like they didn't when they took liberties, they were good liberties.
Mhm.
Where I was like, oh
Yeah.
my god, that was a good idea. That was a good
So, like,
creative change.
done by the right person, a BioShock movie maybe could be that. You know, that's the best case, right?
Yeah, it would also
but those are
cost, like,
so rare.
It would cost $800 million.
Yeah.
Like there's no way you could make a cost-effective BioShock movie, show, whatever thing they'd make. And by the way, it would be a show. Like,
Yeah,
there's
it
no way
should
it
be.
wouldn't be
It
a
should
show.
be. Yeah,
Yeah, you could really explore Rapture that way. I mean, that'd be really cool.
that would be cool.
But yeah, I mean,
Well,
like
that way you get like a good 6 hours out of it.
yeah, at
'Cause
least you can
need
stretch
it
your
to
budget.
explore that much.
It's
Yeah.
true, and you could connect it to BioShock Infinite, make it part of the whole multiverse that they introduced way before the multiverse was a thing in movies. But yeah, I mean, like at the end of the day, while I would love to see some of these like more contemporary movie bent video games into movies themselves, I think Zelda's got to be it. Like I want to see a pretty
Yeah,
CG,
there should be a Zelda movie.
well-made Zelda movie. And I know that Nintendo has gotten over the stigma of the Mario movie from the 80s, and so they're trying to like license out their things.
Yeah,
I don't know why they call it Illumination, but yeah, I want to see like a Pixar-esque Zelda movie.
What story would you want them to go with for Zelda?
Right?
Like for which game?
That's an interesting question.
Primarily draw inspiration. I'm sure if they do it, they'll do some sort of amalgam.
It would have to be an amalgam. I fear they would probably do like a Final Fantasy Spirits Within, where it's like, oh, this is its own thing. It's not even part of it, because every Zelda game is almost like part of its own original Zelda mythology.
They kind of are
part of this, like, so they would be like, oh no, this is the movie Zelda mythology. It's like if you were to make a tapestry of every Zelda Link, dynamic, one of them would be the movie one. I fear they would do that, but I mean, Ocarina of Time.
It's either Ocarina of Link to the Past is too sprawling.
It's not focused enough.
There's so much going on in it. I really feel like a Link to the Ocarina of Time is probably the best one to do.
Right? Although I think I know what they would do, and it's friggin' Breath of the Wild. Like Breath of the Wild lends itself the most to it, and it's also the most fresh in everyone's minds.
Yeah. If they want to like capitalize on the phenomenon,
yeah,
they would just do that. It would just be Zelda Breath of the Wild, the movie.
That's it. I mean, and listen, if I were like in the executive chair and it was like Ocarina of Time, Breath of the Wild, and my job was to greenlight a movie to make me money, it would be Breath of the Wild. Like I am sorry, but it has to be Breath of the Wild. But
I get that. But again, the game is so fresh and recent and good, you can just play anything you want to show on screen.
That's true. My question:
you could just call it Breath of the Wild and make it Ocarina of Time.
It really fuck with people.
Yeah,
right.
Really.
They're like, well, I want to get the people in the theater, and that's what I get with the title.
Yeah,
but then I'll just make whatever movie I want.
Yeah,
I would storm out. I'd be like, "This is not Breath of the Wild."
I would not storm out. I'd be like, "Yay, it's Ocarina of Time!"
Right?
They tricked everyone. What I would do, honestly, if I were like developing the franchise a little bit, it'd be like, okay, no, Breath of the Wild or Ocarina, that's the movie. Wind Waker is the show that's set in its own universe, but it's like you call it a spinoff, but it's like new Zelda, but it's like over there. And like every iteration, like Majora's Mask, these are shows. The smaller ones, the more like niche kind, those are direct to streaming. They have like a different kind of CG team that works on them. But
you can do a show where like every season is like a different
universe of Zelda. Yeah. I mean, like that. I think that would work.
Though.
Oh, I don't even know anything about Skyward Sword outside of the fact that no one liked it.
I think people liked it. I don't know. I know Eagle Raptor doesn't like it, but I think some people liked it.
At least some people do.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm sure somebody did. But yeah. So yeah, those are some of the picks that I would make. But it's always an interesting problem, the video game movie adaptation, because video games are like not lending themselves to adaptations because they are the thing. Like they are the closest thing to like what movies are trying to achieve. Like movies are like, you're immersed in this experience and you feel like you're the protagonist, but only in video games. Like if you were to describe Mario the game and Mario the movie, right? In Mario the movie, you're like, oh, Mario is doing his thing. He saves his brother. He learns a lot from Peach. He kind of fights Bowser, I guess, whatever. You play any Mario game. What happens in that Mario game? Well, I jumped over this thing. I beat all these levels. I am the protagonist. Despite the fact that Mario is the character, he's immaterial. I am Mario. And it's only through that experience of playing the game that we have that experience. And it's like, when you do that adaptation, you lose that immersion.
Yeah, the participatory aspect of it, which is the main thing of the game, is completely absent in the movie. And I'll also say that like so much of the experience of the game is the mechanic of the game. Yes. And the mechanic of the game absolutely can't translate into screen. The most you'll get is like a moment in the movie where it's like, oh, you're doing the thing that you do in that one level, right? Where you jump around.
Yes.
Like in Doom.
Like in Doom when it's first person.
Yes, where it goes to first person mode, which is like the one thing where I'm like, okay, that's kind of fun.
Yes,
because it's like a callback to the game mechanic, right? Which is the thing that you remember. It's like, oh, now you're triggering the nostalgia thing. Now you're triggering that part of it. But it's also like stupid in a movie, right? So it's like
they did that well with Resident Evil.
Which one?
Which one are you thinking of?
The first one was Resident Evil is such a weird beast. And I'm going to put aside all the Mila Jovovich of it all. The first Resident Evil movie, the first one, because Resident Evil the game, you are more or less playing a movie. You know, like you're solving puzzles, you have to read, and you're talking to other characters, interacting with them. Like the best video game movie should be things like House of the Dead and Resident Evil.
Right, it's like an interactive movie already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yet those are some of the worst ever.
Yeah. Agreed. So, agreed. That should be a slam dunk. Mario should be like impossible. Mario should be like, but how do you do that? How do you translate that experience? It's totally different. It's nothing like people think about books adapted to movies. No, books have a plot. Video games, there's no plot to the Mario.
No. Right? Save the princess? That's just
Save the princess. The plot is like repeated 100 times if that's the plot, like throughout the game. It's like get to the end of the level. That's the plot. Yeah. So you can't that you have to do some work to make that into a movie. Yes. And usually it's like absolutely fails. For the ones that are just like a Final Fantasy or Resident Evil, that should be simple because it's all, or even like a BioShock, like it's all there.
It's a story. It's right there.
Yeah. Then it's more like why, right? You got to justify its existence.
And usually if you're doing that, especially when it comes to these people and how they explain themselves when it comes to the movie industry, that's why they stray. That's why they do something else. Why they go like, well, you don't want us to just do the video game on the screen.
Right.
And everyone's like, what are you, nuts?
Right. That's all I want you to know it's a me production.
Yeah.
How do I get myself in there?
How do I dig my thumb into your cupcake? How do I do that?
Speaking of which, I guess they could do a Half-Life movie.
A Half-Life movie would be like something I've wanted forever.
Yes.
And you know who could make it? Valve.
They're going to be like Sam Raimi.
That is the last person I want to see make a Half-Life movie.
Yeah.
Fair. You don't want to see Gordon Freeman grab a crowbar and show it to the camera and then beat something to death.
All right. I do kind of want to see that. And I do want to imagine like a character played by Ted Raimi, but at the same time, no,
Valve can't make a Half-Life movie. They're making Half-Life 3. Right?
Thanks, Ethan.
That's well, great. Now they're going to push it back another 5 years.
I mentioned it.
Because like Valve loves to just go like, oh, we're a VR studio now. Let's make that. Oh, that was fun. All right, throw that away. Dump it. We're done. We're done doing that. We've made
I'm bored.
we've made the most engaging VR experience Sal's ever had in any VR environment, and now it's garbage. Like for fun, Gabe Newell could just go, yeah, let's make a movie studio. We'll produce 2 movies, and we'll make a Team Fortress movie and a Half-Life movie, and we're done. And then burn it to the ground. and they'd be good at it.
Yeah, they would. They do it really well. Yep.
Yeah. Ugh. I hate it. I hate when like people who are really talented or good at something could do something and choose to do nothing instead of that.
I would say they would argue with the do nothing part. They're probably
Yeah, they're doing other things. They're just not doing the thing you want.
Yeah, no, they're just maintaining Steam. And there's another game that they made,
which I'm grateful for. I love the platform.
I remember when Steam was invented, and I remember hating it because you needed it to do anything. Like I came from the school of like, I own the game, I have the game, I download the game.
What do I need this other thing for? Yeah.
What do I need this shit for? And they're like,
why do I have to connect to a server?
Yeah, what the hell? And it never worked. We always do like LANs. Like we would go to like a place that did LAN parties, and it was like, this is a nightmare. Like we played games where it was like, you paid for 2 hours. We wasted an hour and a half trying to connect everyone. Ugh. But yeah, how do they capture that experience in the movies? Just the absolute
LAN party, the movie. We should make.
They did it with Ready Player One, except it worked.
I saw that movie once, and I've caught scenes from it on like social media and stuff, and I'm like, I don't remember a effing thing about this movie until I do. Like until we get to The Shining, and I'm like, this sucks.
I did not like that movie. It was fine. I didn't hate it, but I was just like, eh.
I can't believe Steven Spielberg made it.
You can't? Why?
I'm like, Steve, what is this? Like, what about this made you want to make this?
Well, that I am curious. Yeah, it's like the why of it. But
yeah,
he's made many unremarkable movies.
Oh,
you know, like we think
Lost
about
World.
Yeah, right. Like they're there, right?
The
like,
Terminal. Yes. No, it's true.
So yeah. I would be curious about like, yeah, but why this one? You know,
right? Like, why this one? It must have been a mess. Like, it must have been such a bitch to make.
Maybe his kid really loved the book.
I don't. You know, these great people with their kids and how they are always responsible for like some stupid thing they did.
It was probably just nostalgia. He saw it and he's just like, oh, I can put all of these references in. I'd be good at that.
Well, yeah. I remember him saying like, oh, I like deliberately avoided making references to my own material. Like, you know, they were always like, oh, we could do this, we could do that. And he's like, nope, I'm not going to start like putting my own stuff in there.
Yeah, I'm not going to flagellate myself here.
That's another episode of this show. So thanks a lot for watching, everybody. If you wanted to submit your own question, go to patreon.com/ComicPop for more and do that. Otherwise, subscribe to the channel, click the bell for notifications, and leave a comment down below. And we'll see you next time.